how can we liven up local politics and get people involved at a younger age, and make it not just like your old school chamber of commerce and and whatnot, but like how do you get younger people involved in that? Because I think that's where it starts. Just like they're indoctrinating kids in our education systems nowadays, how can we maybe not indoctrinate, but at least lead by example and lead younger guys into it? Because at the end of the day, it's the next generation that's going to be making the changes, right? Yep. So how do we feed that machine?
Yeah, so I mean, it starts with civics education. I've been taking my daughters with me to all these council meetings.
Okay.
So they get to see it firsthand. These meetings are open to the public. Mm-hmm. You can go see how your local government is run. And your local government, like I said earlier, impacts your daily life way more than the national stage. Mm-hmm. But everyone just associates with the national stage, right? So I would encourage you to get involved, to go pay attention, first of all, to try to understand the process. And again, it goes back to education, like you were talking about. We need to train the next generation. This is how our process works. This is how a bill is made. This is how it moves through committee, right, at the State House. These are how laws are passed. This is Robert's Rules of Decorum. Like how do you ask a question? How do you say Madam President or things like that? So it's all these things that we're not teaching in school. Practical skills like writing a check, or something like
balancing,
that. Balancing a checkbook.
Doing your taxes.
Yeah, but we also need to market it, like you said, to the younger generation. Yeah. And I think we're missing something with technology. Like people still have this mentality they have to show up on election day. They can only vote on election day. And in Indiana, we give you almost the 40 days prior to that, at least the first 30 days prior to election day to go and do early voting. I went and voted today. It took 5 seconds because there was no line. You can go to the Judicial Center in downtown Noblesville, or you can go to the 4-H Fairgrounds and vote right now. Picnic, by the way. Little plug there.
Yeah, not picnic. Picnic.
Picnic.
There we go.
So it's education, but it's also marketing. I really think as technology progresses, we need to, now there need to be safeguards in place, right? So we need to make sure that who's voting is the actual person, whether that's through, you have to, I don't know if it's put in some kind of identification or
facial recognition.
You
can already
no,
do
we're
that.
not going to that. No, we're not doing chips or anything. Okay. Whether it's through an IP address or something, but I think we need to use technology to get more people involved in the process. Like, I think we need to adopt newer technology.
I think making it easier for people
make it easier to vote,
yeah.
right? But I mean, we want to make sure that there's safeguards. Like I said, we can't just have like a bunch of mail-in ballots.
Well, if you can't do that on the federal level, I doubt it's going to be done on the state level.
Well, I trust the people at the local level way more than I trust the federal government.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
So I trust my neighbors who are looking at these voting machines and who are working at the polls and giving their time to make sure that this information, at least in Indiana, is safeguarded, and that there's a printed receipt of what I actually put in the machine.
That's interesting. Trusting the state government more than the federal government. I mean, the federal government was originally intended to basically control the federal military that was supposed to defend against attacks and, go to war if needed, and to mitigate or to mediate maybe between state governments, right? And now it controls everything.
Yeah. I mean, as sad as it is, everyone that's, crying 1776, we can't go back to 1776.
No.
I mean, that was ruined during FDR.
But could we go back to a decentral or a less, I don't want to say decentralized government, but how could we limit the federal government's power and make the state government have or allow the state government to have more? Because what I think is cool about that is that would be capitalism. That's capitalism on a larger level. I mean, city to city, I'm going to pick Westfield, Fishers, Noblesville, Carmel based on where who's got the best amenities, or for me, who's got the most land, which none. But that's why we're looking at buying somewhere else, somewhere. But then I'm looking at, if I am going to live in the suburbs, I live down the street from Midtown. Like, I can have a private yard, an acre lot, not have my house stacked on top of another, and ride my bike 10 minutes and be in Midtown. you know. That's kind of cool when you have a young family. Fishers has something similar. Noblesville, you guys are getting there, and you know, especially if you live near the town square, that's, you know, pretty cool. Westfield's starting to get there too.